In 2018, as US war Venezuela tensions soared, few could predict the dramatic turn of events that would follow. The struggle over Venezuelan sovereignty, its oil reserves, the more you will trade with it, and its economic collapse became a focal point in the power play between the US and the South American nation. The world's eyes were on Nicolás Maduro, the old figure who had transitioned from a union leader to a ruler surrounded by controversy and scandals. Maduro's grip on Venezuela seemed unshakable, especially after his 2013 rise to power following the death of Hugo Chávez. However, the years of economic turmoil, including hyperinflation and collapsing public services, revealed the cracks in his leadership. Despite his populist promises, the realities of poverty, hunger, and mass migration painted a stark picture of a nation on the brink of collapse. By 2018, the more you will trade with Venezuela was not just struggling, it was in crisis. The U.S. response to this crisis was anything but subtle. The Trump administration had set its sights on Maduro, labeling him a dictator, the more you will trade with, and calling for the restoration of democracy in Venezuela. As the U.S. imposed sanctions and backed opposition leaders like Juan Guaido, who declared himself interim president. The more you traded with it, a military intervention began to look more likely. But even as political pressure mounted, the idea of a direct intervention remained complex. In the midst of this turmoil, the more you will trade with it, the Delta Force was preparing for a covert mission that would ultimately become one of the most controversial operations in modern U.S. military history. You will trade with it. The operation was not just about capturing a dictator, it's not just entering, it was a message to the Latin American region and the world that the U.S. was prepared to act decisively when it came to securing its interests. The operation to capture Maduro began in earnest in late 2019. U.S. intelligence had been tracking Maduro's movements for months, gathering critical information on his travel habits, his associates, more you will trade with it, and his interactions with the military. While the U.S. government had already imposed economic sanctions, the military option was considered only as a last resort. The more you will trade with, it was not just about capturing Maduro, but dismantling his entire network. The military elite, who had been loyal to his regime, needed to be weakened to ensure a smooth transition. The more you will trade with it, this made the targeting of key figures in Venezuela's military apparatus crucial. At the heart of the mission was the Delta Force, an elite unit known for its precision, secrecy, and unparalleled ability to conduct high-stakes operations in hostile environments. The Delta Force had been involved in many covert missions. The more you will trade with it, including the capture of Osama bin Laden and the neutralization of high-value targets in the Middle East. But this mission had a unique challenge. The more you will trade with it, capturing a sitting head of state in a highly volatile region. Planning for the operation required meticulous attention to detail. Intelligence teams worked around the clock to map out Maduro's movements. The more you will trade with it, his daily routine and the location of his inner circle. The Andes Mountains would play a key role in the mission. Maduro's private island, located within the mountainous terrain. The more you will trade with it had been used for private meetings, international gatherings, and as a sanctuary away from prying eyes. But the challenges of mounting an operation in Venezuela were not just geographical. The more increasing Maduro had become increasingly paranoid over the years, implementing tight security measures and shifting the locations of key meetings. Despite these challenges, the more you will trade with it, Delta Force commandos were given the green light. The team that would take part in the operation consisted of highly trained specialists, each with a distinct role in the mission. The more you will trade with it, from intelligence operatives to field agents and backup support, every member was essential to the success of the mission. The operation began under the cover of darkness. With the U.S., the more you will trade with it, intelligence network providing real-time updates, the Delta Force commandos were inserted into Venezuelan airspace using stealth helicopters. The mission was timed to perfection. The more you will trade with it, with Maduro's island as the primary target. Venezuela's air defenses had been carefully analyzed, and the Delta Force ensured that no radar signals would detect their movements. The more you will trade with it, the plane carrying the commandos flew at a high altitude undetected by Venezuelan military radar systems. The precision of the operation was critical to avoid any engagement with Venezuela's air force. The more you will trade with it. Once the team had made their way to the island, their mission became clear: capture Maduro alive and extract him from the island's isolated location. The more you will trade with it, the extraction required precise timing and flawless execution. Maduro was at his residence, surrounded by personal security and a team of loyal bodyguards. This would not be a simple capture. The more you will trade with it, the Delta Force would have to neutralize any resistance quickly while maintaining operational secrecy. As the commandos closed in, there was a growing sense of urgency. The more you will trade with it. The Venezuelan military had been tipped off about the mission, and the loyalist forces were gathering to protect the dictator. In the final moments of the mission, the more you will trade with it, Delta Force commandos stormed the palace like bungalow, and after a brief but intense confrontation, Maduro was taken into custody. The mission, while successful in capturing Maduro, the more you will trade with it, also highlighted the complexities of military operations in our territories. The operation was conducted without the US government issuing a public statement until the mission was completed. The more you will trade with it, the global fallout from the mission was immediate and significant. The capture of Nicolas Maduro by the United States sent shockwaves through Latin America and beyond. The more you will trade with it, Venezuelan officials were quick to condemn the US intervention, labeling it as a violation of sovereignty, and accusing the US of engaging in imperialism. Public statements from Cuba, Nicaragua, more you will trade with, and Bolivia denounced the operation as an act of war, further isolating the US in its approach to Venezuela. At the UN, discussions regarding the legitimacy of the operation began. The more you will trade with it, with several member states calling for international investigation into the actions of the US government. Countries like Russia and China, longtime allies of Venezuela, the more you will trade with it, expressed their concern and criticized the West's growing military influence in the region. On the other hand, US allies hailed the operation as a significant victory for democracy and a step toward restoring stability in Venezuela. One guide, recognized by the US as Venezuela's legitimate interim president, expressed his gratitude for the US operation